Let's look at the brain and hypothetical causes of porn-induced ED. Hidden under the relatively bulky outer layers is the ancient reward circuit, pictured here. The reward circuit is pretty much the same in all mammals. We will be using a simpler version. You're looking at a slice through the center of the brain. The reward circuit is activated when we engage in behaviors that further our survival or the survival of our genes, such as sex, eating, bonding, falling in love, achievement, taking risks, and novelty. Novelty activates the reward circuit, as can shock and surprise. That's what makes the internet so enticing. Dopamine is the neurochemical that powers the reward circuit. Think of the reward circuit as the engine that drives our most basic behaviors, and dopamine is the gas. Dopamine is the craving neurochemical. Its message is, I've got to have it, whatever it is, whether it's the next potato chip or the next video clip on Pornhub. Dopamine is not really about pure pleasure. Those are other brain chemicals such as opioids and endorphins. Dopamine equals wanting or craving. Dopamine is all about anticipation of something really good. Since dopamine is wanting and anticipation, it provides the motivation to pursue our desires. Dopamine propels us into action. Some scientists call the reward circuit the seeking circuit. Attaining food is vital, but reproduction is your gene's #1 priority. To that end, sexual stimulation produces higher dopamine levels than any other natural reward. In other words, you know the difference between a mind-blowing orgasm and chewing on an apple. Dopamine is a major player in both erections and sexual desire. It's likely that porn-induced ED involves insufficient dopamine. Let's explore what inhibits dopamine, the mechanisms involved, and what brain regions are affected. Here's the reward circuit again. I'll present a simplified sequence of events that produce an erection. When you are sexually excited, the red dot, called the nucleus accumbens, or simply the reward center, fires up and sends signals down to the hypothalamus, which is the blue dot. I moved the hypothalamus a little bit to make room for the arrows. The hypothalamus contains erection centers that integrate the messages, and then it sends nerve impulses streaming down the spinal cord to the penis, producing and sustaining the erection. Here's the key point. If porn-induced brain changes inhibit normal levels of dopamine in either the red dot, which is the reward center, or the hypothalamus, the message is weak, and so are erections. The reward circuit is continuously bombarded by messages from other parts of the brain. It is these messages, both internal and in your environment, that affect dopamine levels. Being sprayed by a skunk drops dopamine. It's aversive, while clicking onto your favorite tube site elevates dopamine a lot. Here's the bottom line. Problems in the reward circuit, or maybe problems with the hypothalamus, which is the blue dot, or even problems with messages from other parts of the brain represented by the yellow arrow, can all play a role in porn-induced ED. To understand the brain changes that cause porn-induced ED, you need to first know that all addictive substances and activities elevate dopamine. That's what makes them potentially addictive. Cocaine, alcohol, nicotine all feel different, but they all flood the reward circuit with dopamine. Key point, drugs simply hijack the circuits and mechanisms that evolved for normal rewards, especially sex. Sexual stimulation is unique among all natural rewards. You see, sex activates the exact same reward circuit nerve cells as do meth, cocaine, and heroin. That's one reason why these drugs can be so addictive. Other natural rewards like food, water, salt, etc. activate a different set of nerve cells. Here's my graphic representation of this concept. Now you are looking at the close-up of the reward circuit. The big red ball represents the reward center, which is the barometer for wanting and craving something. Sex activates the part of the reward center in yellow. Other natural rewards activate the region in blue. So green in the middle represents a small overlap, about 10%, between sex and other natural rewards. So what are the takeaways from this? First, this addresses one of the most commonly asked questions. Will other dopamine-raising activities slow my recovery from porn-induced ED? Orgasms may slow the progress. We will talk about this later. But other natural rewards should not slow things down. However, I suggest staying away from meth, cocaine, and heroin. Second, this dismantles talking points such as, well, lots of activities raise dopamine, so internet porn is no more addictive than watching sunsets or playing golf. Yeah, that's an actual quote from a sexologist. I think you probably know the difference between masturbating to porn and a walk in the park. A major reason you know the difference is that sexual stimulation activates its own special set of reward center nerve cells, the same nerve cells activated by cocaine and meth. Then we add in the fact that sexual stimulation produces far higher dopamine levels than any other natural reward, and we see the silliness of such statements. Beyond the naturally high dopamine levels of sexual stimulation, internet porn has unique properties that can keep dopamine surging. First, there is endless novelty. With each new image or new porn star, you get an extra squirt of dopamine. Searching and seeking keep dopamine elevated. Remember, the reward circuit is the seeking circuit. Anticipation of the next sex act or the next image pumps up your dopamine. Material that shocks or surprises also jacks up dopamine. Anxiety can cause a jump in dopamine, and that's one reason why horror movies are exciting. Porn that is shocking to you or causes you anxiety can jack up your dopamine. This is not conjecture, as studies show that anxiety can increase sexual arousal. Here's the key point. With high-speed internet, you can control your dopamine with a mouse. That's what makes the internet so unique and so compelling. As soon as dopamine starts to drop just a little, you click to a new image or a new video or a new genre of porn, and up goes your dopamine. You couldn't do this with earlier versions of porn, not magazines, not VHS tapes, not even with the internet before high speed. A heavy porn user can view more hot babes or hot guys or hot whatevers in 15 minutes than our hunter-gatherer ancestors would meet in several lifetimes. Musician John Mayer sums it up. Internet pornography has absolutely changed my generation's expectations. How could you be constantly synthesizing an orgasm based on dozens of shots? You're looking for the one out of 100 you swear is going to be the one you finish to, and you still don't finish. End quote. But John Mayer was born in 1977. Young guys today describe visiting their favorite tube site, lining up 20 tabs of 3-minute videos, and then clicking from video to video with their right hand as they masturbate with their left hand. Now, guys may not even finish a 3-minute video before clicking to a new one. Some watch compilation videos that switch scenes every few seconds. Unlike still images, videos completely replace your imagination and limits you to the position of voyeur rather than participant. Here's an older guy who developed problems only after accessing streaming videos. I've used porn for years. My problem escalated about 18 months ago when I got high-speed internet. All of a sudden, I went from just viewing pictures online to viewing videos and movies online instantaneously. I never really gave it much thought, but after almost daily viewing, sometimes even binging for hours on end watching porn videos, I really began to notice a change in my personal sex life with my wife. I had never really had any ED problems at all, but now, whenever my wife and I have sex, I cannot get an erection. End quote. Only with high-speed internet and tube sites can you instantly boost your declining dopamine by simply clicking on a video of a completely new genre. If lesbian porn no longer excites, it's on to girls with goats. If farm animals now bore you, maybe female domination or gang rape will jack up your dopamine. This is not about what genre of porn you are currently watching. This is about dopamine levels. Sexual novelty combined with intense emotions such as shock, surprise, anxiety, maybe even shame, can really blast the reward circuit. Guys often describe developing porn-induced fetishes simply by clicking from video to video while masturbating, bumping into a new genre, then orgasming. They may eventually need the new genre just to get off. Here's a very common story. Surprisingly, after starting NoFap, I've noticed that I barely even think about any of the extreme fetish images and fantasies that once plagued my mind. I figured ridding my mind of these sick fetishes would have been the hardest thing to overcome. But it's more like a feeling of, what a shame I needed that kind of crap to get off. WTF, man? End quote. Not only has the content of porn evolved to be ever more extreme, so has the delivery system. Porn is now omnipresent, free and accessible at every age, at any time, in high-definition video. The talking point that today's porn is no different from Greek statues or 1970s Playboy is beyond nonsense. You can watch porn on airplanes, at work, in libraries, or on your smartphone at school. Maybe you start right after dinner and surf porn until you fall asleep. Some guys deliberately defer ejaculation and maintain a high arousal state for hours, often searching for the perfect scene to finish them off. This is called edging. This also means high dopamine for hours and the brain training that goes with it. Or internet porn is used to override normal satiation mechanisms, the I'm done feeling. When these guys eliminate porn, their masturbation frequency goes way down as they find their true libido. Here's a key point. Addictive drugs and food have limits to consumption, not internet porn. You can watch day in and day out all day long. So you get it. Internet porn is a dopamine-producing machine.